Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ayah 35 of Surah Al-Maa'idah. قال الله تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وابتغوا إليه الوسيلة وجاهدوا في سبيله لعلكم تفلحون. So in this ayah, most of the words have preceded. He says, O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah Jalla wa Ala. We have spoken about taqwa before. وَابْتَغُوا, from ibtagha, yabtaghi, ibtigha'an, to seek. So to seek a wasila, they say means qurba, a means of nearness to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Qatada, one of the mufassirin, says it means to approach Allah or to gain a closeness to Allah by obeying Him and performing the acts which will please Him. So basically, the obedience and worship of Allah Jalla wa Ala, this is a means of drawing closer to Allah Jalla wa Ala. Now, of course, we know from other narrations that al-wasila is a station in Jannah only fitting for one person. And that person is going to be the last prophet, of course, and we'll make dua for the last prophet that he enters al-wasila, as that is the place where you are closest to Allah Jalla wa Ala in Jannah. But that is not what is intended by al-wasila in this ayah. And he says, وَجَاهِدُوا فِي سَبِيلِهِ. Jahada yujahidu, jihadan, to strive. What it intends here is to fight in the way of Allah. So what it intends here is to strive against the enemies of Allah, be it militarily or ideologically, with the tongue. That is to promote tawheed and to expose the folly ways of kufr. La'alla here is for taraji, so hopefully. So he's saying, so hopefully you may tuflihun, from aflaha, to succeed. So reflecting on this ayah, we find, as usual with the calling out of the mu'mineen, that the best description of any human is to be a mu'min, a believer in Allah Jalla wa Ala. We find the obligation of taqwa of Allah Jalla wa Ala, as we have done in many other ayat before, as it is taqwa which saves you from the wrath of Allah Jalla wa Ala and from Jahannam. We find that we are to seek a closeness to Allah, and that is by obeying Him. And there is no obedience except with following the Sunnah, because any obedience contrary to the Sunnah is a bid'ah, an innovation, and every innovation leads to the fire. So any people who claim that they are seeking a wasila, a means of closeness to Allah, by doing other than what the Prophet has legislated, then they are actually distancing themselves from Allah, not gaining a nearness. We also take the obligation of striving in the way of Allah, whether it is militarily or whether it is ideologically, or even with your wealth in terms of funding those who are striving in the way of Allah. So you could fund the mujahideen if that is appropriate, or you could fund those who are giving da'wah in the way of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Because ultimately what striving is all about is that it is about making the word of Allah Jalla wa Ala superior over the word of kufr. Ayah 36. Inna alladhina kafaru law anna lahum ma fi al-ardi jami'an wa mithlahu ma'ahu liyaftadu bihi min adhabi yawmi al-qiyamati ma tuqubbila minhum walahum adhabun alimun. The words in this ayah are fairly straightforward. He says law, meaning on the hypothetical, if the kuffar had everything on planet earth, وَمِثْلَهُ مَعَهُ, and the like thereof, meaning double it. لِيَفْتَدُوا بِهِ, from iftada yaftadi, iftida'an, to ransom oneself. So they will have twice as much on earth to ransom themselves from the fire of hell. مَا تُقُبِّلَ مِنْهُمْ, it would not be accepted from them, and they will have a painful torment. So reflecting on this ayah, the obvious lesson we can pick up is that all the wealth in the world and all the materialism in the world means nothing to Allah Jalla wa Ala on Yawm al-Qiyamah. It is not a currency you can deal with. The only currency you can deal with are your Iman and righteous actions. That is it. So this ayah opens our eyes as to what our priority needs to be in this life. And yet we find people making it the purpose of their life to amass as much wealth as they can. We take the existence of Yawm al-Qiyamah, of course, where people will be judged and they will be answerable for all what they did on planet Earth in their life. We also find that anything you want to ransom after your death will be of no avail. It's like if a thief is caught and he says to the police, okay, do not arrest me, I will return the wealth, and we're evens. No, this will not work. He should have returned the wealth before he was caught by the police. He cannot say this after he is caught. We learn that the torment of the fire is a painful one, and this is in rebuttal to anyone who would say or think that the kuffar in the fire of hell will acclimate to the fire and get used to it, and so therefore they will feel no burn anymore. And this is of course nonsense, because the fire of hell, just like Jannah, is self-refreshing. So their skins are replaced and they feel the torment again. Just like Jannah, it refreshes, it always feels new. You do not become bored of Jannah. So both of these places are self-refreshing. Ayah 37. يريدون أن يخرجوا من النار وما هم بخارجين منها وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مُقِيمٌ. They want, meaning the kuffar, to يخرجوا, to exit the fire, وَمَا هُمْ بِخَارِجِينَ, but they will never leave therefrom, and theirs will be a punishment which is muqim, which means to say long-lasting, as in forever. Because when someone is muqim, they are resident in the land, as opposed to a musafir, who is a traveler, not a resident. So a resident is settled. He's not going anywhere. Likewise then the punishment, it is settled, it is not going anywhere. It is with them forever. Reflecting on this ayah, the lessons are straightforward enough, and it is no surprise that the kuffar will strive to exit the fire, but they will be, unsurprisingly, unable to leave the fire, because the only way to leave the fire is if Allah Jalla wa Ala lets you leave. Otherwise there is no fire escape in Jahannam. We also take that the fire will be muqim, meaning everlasting for them, not going away. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to protect us from it. هذا والله أعلم.